Hello and welcome to the last series of the group stage of the 2017 uLoL Campus Series. I am Tom Sirfos, and with me once again on the desk is Mark Zimmerman. How's it going?
I'm doing great. I would ask how you're doing, but I don't care. Let's review the tournament structure. We've separated all the teams into 4 regions and divided each of those regions into groups of 6. Teams play within their group, and the top 2 teams advance into our single elimination playoffs.
And this is a big week for a lot of teams because it's do or die time before we hit the playoffs.
Right. I mean, it's getting really close down to the wire.
Yeah, so why don't we just take a look at the schedule for today? It's the last week of group stage play, and we've got Western Kentucky versus Kansas State. And of course, that means next week we're on a break because we're gearing up for playoffs.
I mean, we're not on a break. We'll still be doing the BTN broadcast, so be sure to tune in to see Michigan versus Ohio State. It's going to be a great matchup.
No rest for the wicked. So let's take a look at today's matchup, Western Kentucky versus Kansas State.
Right, Western Kentucky has had a rocky season, but attribute most of their losses to what they think are fixable errors. So they're hoping to finish things out in the season by tightening up a couple of their flaws and scoring a win versus Kansas State.
And that's going to be easier said than done, though, because Kansas State has had a stronger record than Western Kentucky, even though every single player on their roster is brand new.
Right, their team actually disbanded at the end of last year, and the team has been working on trying to build something that's going to last a long time, so they've been focusing a lot on kind of building the structure up as well.
Yeah, so why don't we just start right away by looking at the rosters, and I'll start off on the blue side with Western Kentucky. In the top lane is Zen Frog. In the jungle is Shiki97. Mid is Emirati. AD carry is AYT Ryzen, and their support is Tex the Cat.
Across the rift, we have their opponent in Kansas State, all with easier names to say. In the top lane, it's I Am Neil. Jungle is 3King123. Mid lane, Mask Link 12 or 12, I'm not sure. AD carry is Dem Boys, and support is chillin'. Dem Boys chillin' in the bot lane.
That's very true. And as I said, it was going to be Western Kentucky actually on the red side this time around. So they're going to be starting off game number 1 as we jump into picks and bans in just a second over on that side. And it'll be pretty interesting, as you said in the beginning here. Western Kentucky, they're kind of chalking up their results to a couple of fixable errors, whereas on the opposite side for Kansas, like it's a brand new roster. They have a bunch of things that they just kind of need to gel and mesh together, because it was a team that has participated previously in the uLoL series, but not the exact same because they're brand new. Right,
but they do have some quality players on the team, most of them in the diamond range. So, you know, they still know how to play the game. It's not just because they're new players doesn't mean suddenly they don't know how to play League of Legends or anything. So I expect they'll still be fine in this matchup.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that we kind of look at in the campus series specifically, is the strength of the individual players and how the teams can kind of learn and grow together to make those map movements happen. And a lot of it really just starts with how these teams are actually going to be discussing the pick and ban strategy as well. Because in the campus series, I mean, we're on 7-3 because we're on the live patch. There's a lot of things that aren't necessarily as prioritized as it is in competitive play, and vice versa when we have some pocket picks.
All right, and let's get into picks and bans so we can see exactly how 7.3 is going to influence the draft phase for these two teams. And this was a pretty nerf-heavy draft. We mentioned it before. A lot of things have just been taken down a notch. Not a ton of buffs in this actual patch. So we see a Katarina ban. That's more of a targeted one than an OP kind of pick. Even though a lot of people think Katarina's strong, she's not quite that must-pick status.
Right, because she definitely still has a lot of lane matchup where she's not necessarily favored and kind of be kept down, which keeps her kind of out of that top-tier pick and ban priority. Camille still going to be banned away from Kansas State, whereas Western Kentucky have actually targeted with a Nocturne ban, who did see a little bit of love in the lethality patch. So.
Right, and a number of Nocturne's been popping up in a number of scenes. We saw it in the Challenger scene as well as the collegiate scene. It's something that has a lot of individual playmaking potential, and it's even scarier if you manage to make it work actually within your team comp. So I understand that one being banned away. Shen is another one, another playmaking champion. It seems like Kansas State is trying to limit what Kentucky can do with just early playmaking champions at 6.
Yeah, and then the LeBlanc being banned out. We've seen LeBlanc being a very popular ban, although she has also suffered a round of nerfs, the sigil damage being the real big one, not necessarily going to be popping for as much. And then Victor, who's kind of one of those mid-lane control mages who hadn't been seeing a lot of love, is going to be target banned away here by Western Kentucky.
And we see Kansas State grabbing the Corki pick right away. I mean, Corki's just an all-around strong mid laner, does it all, poke, safe wave clear, able to have strong laning phase, and has an escape in his W. So overall, just a great pick to grab right away.
And Western Kentucky, even though there's still every single top laner minus Shen left on the table, are going to be going for the Nautilus pickup and the Vi, which we've seen in the North American Challenger Series as well. The Vi and the combination with just 1 or 2 other forces of crowd control can be devastating, especially in the early stages of the game.
Right, and Nautilus is kind of the tank that has the strongest early game in a sense, and Kentucky, being potentially a weaker team, wants to make sure that they don't get bullied out too hard in individual lane matchups potentially, so that's why you see it over something like the Maokai, which is generally strong. stronger later in the game. So interesting pickup there. On the side of Kansas State, we see the Zach coming in, and I believe that's a Scion.
That is a Scion.
I mean, I guess people just don't like Maokai in this matchup or something. I don't know.
Maybe I Am Neil thinks he's Quas, and we've seen Quas.
Maybe it is Quas.
I don't know about that.
Have you seen him and Quas in the room at the same time?
I have not seen him and Quas in the same room at the same time. You could be onto something here, but then that might just get into a little bit of a rules debacle.
Yeah, let's not get too much into it because it's not true at all. Anyways, Emirati is locking in the Jhin as well as the Zyra, a really strong bot lane. Like we said, even though Zyra did receive some nerfs, it was mostly in terms of functionality, how her plants work. They don't auto-prioritize champions now, so it's a little easier to walk up and deal with her poke, but the zone control is still extremely strong.
Right, if she's going to be focusing down somebody by using her auto attacks or spells on them, the plants will follow suit as opposed to just automatically targeting them. Reduces her harassment levels in lane because it puts her in danger where she has to at least be within her auto attack range to do so. But another powerful pickup in the bottom lane here with the Virus being acquired, as well as the Morgana support, which we've seen like in the NALCS with Immortals Olay picking that one up for himself, has risen in popularity.
And the last pick coming in for Kentucky is, of course, that Ziggs pick. That's going to be going mid lane, so we see it all from both teams. Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of Ziggs in the bot lane recently, so there you go.
That's very true. So as we take a look at the draft summary kind of coming out of this pick and ban phase, like we did mention before, sometimes we see some very interesting things. Kha'Zix and Rengar did suffer a little bit of the round of nerfs. Kha'Zix specifically still considered really, really powerful. Neither team really going for it here.
Right, and we see instead the Vi is the pick that they want, and I like the Morgana pick into it. They have basically a shield to stop that kind of hard engage coming from the Vi Nautilus, and allow whatever they're targeting to get away mostly free. And then the rest of the team comp for Western Kentucky is kind of long-range poke with Jhin, Ziggs, and Zyra. So, I mean, the idea is to have, Nautilus, Vi lock somebody up and the rest of the team shoot stuff in, but I think the side of Kansas State does have some tools to deal with that.
Yeah, they definitely have kind of more of the quote-unquote traditional rounded-out composition. I mean, you have a tank top laner, you have some sort of engagement tool coming out from, in this case, your jungler. Your support is the one that provides a little bit more utility. And you got two very powerful damage dealers in the Varus and the Corki in the mid lane. So, very powerful composition.
Yep, a lot of poke as well. Whenever you see Corki and Varus paired together, both of them can really poke people down annoyingly from range. So it's a little hard. We do see that they do have engage options on Kentucky, but if they ever mess those up, they're going to be eating a lot of poke damage.
All right, Mark. Well, I got to ask you now that we've seen both of these teams and talked about the drafts entirely. Who do you think's got this one?
I mean, I'm going to give the draft advantage potentially to Kentucky just because I like what they have set up here. If the Morgana's ever late on a shield or not in the right spot, you can blow somebody up instantly. But I'm still going to have to give it to Kansas just because I favor what I've heard about their team coming into this matchup a little bit more.
Team of rookies? You're going with the rookie squad.
Going with the rookie squad.
All right. Well, we, of course, have heard what Mark thinks, but we would also like to hear what you guys think because you might be a little bit better at it. Get on Twitter and let us know by tweeting hashtag WKU or hashtag Kansas State at uLoL as we jump into game number one.
Yeah, that's a great joke, Tom.
Yeah.
Some random person on Twitter is going to know better than me. Come on.
I don't know, man. You have like an entire thing dedicated to people on Reddit being true or false, so.
Yeah, that's true, and usually they're wrong.
Oh, all right, that's true. You do have a pretty good track record with that one. But we are in game number one of this best of three series as we load onto Summoner's Rift. And as you mentioned, lots of poke coming out from both of these teams. A little bit more lockdown potential coming out from Western Kentucky, specifically in the fact that, well, they have the CC bot Nautilus in top lane.
Right, but also for Kentucky's side, they don't really have many defensive options. You basically have CC as your defense and damage. Whereas, we see both teams popping up right at the beginning of this game.
Immediately, the dredge line goes in, but it's Nautilus who goes down. He did blow his flash, but he didn't even move because he got taken out so fast.
I mean, you saw Scion, the power of his level 1. He charges up a Q and knocks up everybody, dealing a ton of damage. And the best part is, even if he did go down while he was frontlining, he's going to get back up and return from the grave to pummel some people. So we'll take a look at that level 1 once again.
Less than a minute into the game, both teams just wind up going full on 5v5. They see each other walking in, the dredge line and the binding get leveled up, and there you talked about the power of the Scion.
Right, and I mean, it's a little hard to criticize Kentucky because they do have a really strong level 1 with a ton of poke and spammable skills, but the problem is, you're going up against two people with revive passives. They also have spammable skills and catch potential, so overall, just kind of whoever walks into who usually loses, and Kentucky face checked a little bit more into Kansas State, and we see the power of that Scion Q level 1 if it hits multiple people and knocks them up.
Now you're also going to have Zenfrog's Nautilus in the top lane, starting with Dredgeline at level 1 against the Scion, so he's not going to have the innate pushing power just from picking up the Riptide, as both junglers are going to get fairly standard starts across the Rift, and we are on the Blood Moon map because we're on the live realm, and we got Blood Moon Jhin because of that.
Oh,
very nice.
Nice thematic there, thematic choice. As Lumberjack Scion shatters the atmosphere.
I don't know if Lumberjacks have any sort of like Blood Moon festivities.
We got a Lumberjack and an Astronaut duking it out in the top lane. Not quite the...
Ziggs brought his snow gear to the Blood Moon fields. I don't know.
I mean, what's going on here, Tom?
I don't know. These guys clearly didn't get the memo, although we see a bit of damage being traded back and forth between both of these poke-heavy mid laners. Porky and Ziggs both going to have a lot of long-range damage utility.
And the thing I'm going to keep my eye on in the early game, of course, is Zac, a champion with great ganking pre and post 6, and the fact that the Nautilus has lost his flash already, and Zac clearing his way up there means we might see an explosive gank in the top side early on.
Yeah, of course, having any sort of form of CC is really great when you have a top lane tank matchup such as that, and having the Zac kind of come in and be able to provide his own CC out of the jungle is a really great way to lock somebody down. And as you mentioned, already down that summoner spell, could see priority, but of course Zenfrog is getting pushed in ever so slightly by I Am Neil. We mentioned he leveled up his Dredgeline at level 1, which means his Undertow would not be learned to level 2. And we do see both of those guys kind of just trading back and forth in the top lane. We can see a little bit of damage previously in the bottom lane between this Jhin-Zyra matchup, which is normally super oppressive, but Varus and Morgana, there are no slouches in the bottom lane either.
Yeah, both these teams have really good harassment tools in the bot lane, as we see Vi working her way up into the top side, trying to get an early gank onto I Am Neil. Hits it.
Does connect with the Vault Breaker. Flash being burned by I Am Neil extremely early. The Dredgeline to follow up. Looks like Zenfrog wants to keep going in here. Shicky's already kind of turned his tail and ran, and we are going to see the King 1, 2, 3 just moseying his way up the top lane, but that's a summoner spell burn.
Yeah, I mean, overall pretty good gank, but we see it might not be over yet as he is sneaking into the brush. I think he can get into the middle one, potentially when that minion dies in the front.
He hasn't been spotted quite yet, but don't know if he's going to wind up biting this one. The Undertow was used, so Zenfrog's lane already with a lot of minions stacking up is going to be pushing, but King decides to go back.
Yep, ultimately the wave's pushing into Kansas State, like you said, so he's going to try and hover back, though there's a repeat gank coming in from Vi. This could work.
Ooh, Shicky, is he can land the Vault Breaker? He does not, but there's no flash bell for I Am Neil. The root coming out there from the Nautilus to Dredgeline to follow up. I Am Neil's taking a lot of damage, and he's going to go down.
It's a little surprising that he was continuing to play that far forward in the lane after Zac recalled. That's basically when you want to say, all right, you got me. We're going to wait for this wave to come in, but he overextends and the gank works.
He's a little bit too ambitious there from I Am Neil. Had just used his flash in the previous Vi gank, and without the support from his jungler, winds up going down. His score tied up 1 apiece here. First blood, of course, did go over to Kansas State, so they still have a slight gold advantage. But things stacking up across the map now. We've got both of their tanks with kills in the top lane.
Yep, so we'll have to see how that one continues to develop. Generally, a lot of people consider Scion to be an okay laner, but Nautilus kind of has the best pushing of most tanks in the top lane, so we'll have to see if Scion can continue to hold on, not fall behind in CS. As we see once again, another gank attack coming in for Shicky. This one,
not successful.
Not successful. He burned his flash there, and all it took was a Valk to get away, so overall not great.
And that's where you see kind of the, we were talking about before, if you have a jungler with a sort of form of CC and you have a laner that can follow up or present a open gank for a jungle gank like that, saw it in the top lane be very successful. When you have the mobility of a mid laner though, it's a little less straightforward, as now with the Zac kind of using the slingshot to get in, Emirati's going to have to use his own flashes. Oh, Shicky!
What was that? He's go down to wolves?
Yeah.
That is painful to see as he burns his flash. I'm going to guess just tilts and goes to his wolves, dies trying to farm those out. And the mid laner, Emirati, also lost his flash, as now we see Zenfrog getting chased down. He might go down. Zac's coming in as well. He still has flash available. This should be a kill.
Slingshot's gonna miss. The shield is out from Zenfrog, but one more slam of the axe from Scion, and things falling apart for Western Kentucky.
Yeah, didn't even need to flash there on Zac. He's still got that available, and he's up to level 5 now. He's gonna hit 6 pretty soon, and he's got a plethora of places he can look for a repeat gank.
Well, Western Kentucky actually binding going to land on Tex the Cat right here. Has a little bit of damage, tries to get traded back. The piercing arrow will go a little bit wide, but things going a little bit askew in most of these lane matchups, is now the crit shot being charged up from Jhin. Them boys taking a lot of poke damages. Well, if we've learned anything from before, as soon as we see trades going on, the junglers are bound to show up and somebody's going to die.
Yeah, I mean, Vi is hovering around that bot side, finishing off that Scuttle Crab in the river. She could head down here when she's done with it. Looks like she's instead going to head up more to the mid lane. Blue buff will be respawning shortly. Maybe just going to get some vision down, though. Looks like Ziggs might be interested in coming down as well.
He has the Mega Inferno Bomb. He's going to wind up throwing it down. Not going to wind up landing on the Varus, though.
Yeah, I think he was aiming more for the minions there, trying to get that minion wave in, potentially. I'm not sure exactly what he's looking for, though we see Shiki thinking about making a play down here, unable to do so.
No, looks like nobody's going to wind up diving through there. Ryzen and Text the Cat at fairly healthy amounts, but looks like they are just going to shove that bot lane in and decide to wind up going back. Ryzen has opted to go for the longsword start, so actually waiting in the brush for chilling there, but you saw how very crucial that black shield can be to avoid just getting caught out like that.
I mean, that was very risky for Chillin to go walk up in there, try and stop their recalls. They both turn, and if that root lands before a black shield comes out or anything, then you potentially go down there as the Morgana, or at least lose a bunch of summoners.
And instead, though, black shield does come out in an okay amount of time, and it will keep Chillin alive for now. It does wind up stopping the back, so Ryzen not going to be going back and picking up that early serrated Dirk. On the flip side, his lane opponent, Dem Boys, has started with the Doran's Blade, kind of where the standard start. Although, we'll have to see if he goes for a lethality build himself. But in the mid lane, Emirati, there's no flash available for him. He's just been donated a blue buff, and it looks like they're going to try to get this one over to Corki. Does want to get the satchel out. In comes Shiki. He wound up taking down Zac, but charging in from the top lane is Sion. And after all of that, Zac's going to collect himself, and then everybody's going to walk away.
Oh, Masklink missed the rocket needed to probably finish off Corki there, or Ziggs there, so Emirati's able to get away at low health. Good cover by Shiki to turn a counter gank. They get the Zac passive, which is actually pretty useful, and they also get the Sion ultimate out, another playmaking tool. So overall for Kentucky, that didn't go too bad for how many resources were expanded on the side of Kansas State.
And that's all for ganking a mid laner who already had no summoner spells available.
Right, exactly. That's overall something you're thrilled about.
So things getting a little bit more in Western Kentucky's favor. They had like a couple flubs around that mid lane where they burned a flash just for a Valkyrie, and then their jungler wound up dying to wolves. But things have kind of settled down a little bit, and their bottom lane is still chugging away fairly strong. They have the serrated Dirk in addition to Caulfield's Warhammer now, so already both pieces for the Ghostblade picked up for Jhin. Whereas on the opposite side, Varus stopping to pick up that tier to fix his mana issues. Serrated Dirk on his side as well. Everything seems to kind of be matching up fairly standard so far.
For the most part, but we still see that off the back of some CS leads and an extra kill with the first blood, that Kansas State does have about 1,000 gold lead, and they are winning most places on the map aside for that bot lane.
And we'll see if this bot lane can be a point where Western Kentucky tries to turn things around. We've already seen Vi and Ziggs not necessarily make an appearance down there, but they utilize the Mega Inferno Bomb just to try to get a little bit of a push and a little bit of poke damage down on that bottom side of the map. Didn't work out for them. Corki's package is available, so that could also be a playmaker. But with the Zac Cell division down, he has actually gone back already, picked up his Bammy Cinder for himself, going to be going towards that Cinder Hulk build. We'll see if there's actually any proactive action from the side of Kansas State, or if they're going to wait and try to take things slow. There is a dragon available, and it is the Infernal Drake that usually makes teams fight.
It looks like instead Kentucky is looking to make a gank happen on the bot lane. Vi hops over the wall with her Vault Breaker. Now she's locked onto Dem Boys, puts him down the ground, and Jhin finishes it off with the snipes.
Fourth shot of that curtain call, crits and takes him down, and the heal was used right there, but Dem Boys didn't think he needed the flash. Still has that one available, as Emirati might be coming down to try to help take this dragon, but he does get caught out here by Masklink, but Masklink has the Valkyrie out of that bomb. The flash and the Vault Breaker will not connect from Shiki. They are going to chase Masklink away, but don't know if they want to chase too far.
A little low, hard to force around this barrier.
Oh, the Sion teleport comes in. The ultimate gets charged up as well. Ryzen's going to try to flash out of the Q knockup. Tries to lock him down, but on the backside now, Zac has joined the fray, but Zenfrog with a teleport of his own. Zac is bouncing around, but no passive means he will go down. Masklink now going to get caught up by the Dredge line. He does get a kill onto Shiki, and now it's tanked matchup versus tank matchup, as Ryzen's going to wind up falling after he gets a kill on Corki, but now Sion, well, he's got no team left. He's going to wind up trying to take down the Nautilus. He gets hit up by a binding. The passive procs. Man, that's going to be Sion taking him down. A flash away from Ziggs.
He's not able to get the kill despite the Varus returning into the fight. Now they're starting off Dragon, though. I think that's just kind of a frustrated, I want to hit something.
Varus, no assist in that fight, but chaos all around.
Total chaos. I think it ends up being a 3-for-4 on the side of Kentucky, starting off with a bot lane gank attempt that worked out pretty well. So we'll take another look at that.
Yeah, so the bot lane gank succeeds. They get Varus out of the fight, but then they decide to chase after the Corki, who catches their Ziggs in a rotation as they're trying to go for Dragon, but the teleport coming in from I Am Neil and this Sion ultimate catching down onto the 80 carry.
Right, but it's so disjointed on the side of Kansas State. They're not coming in at the same time. Sion flashes out just as Zach goes in. He's knocking people up now. Both are trying to walk in while Masklink is struggling to get involved in the fight. He wants to get on the same side as his Morgana, but that gets him caught out trying to get in the right position. He goes down, and now it's a 2v4, but it's a tanky Sion who finishes off Ryzen on the Jhin, and now they're going to finish him off. The Sion as well, but right as they're doing that, Nautilus gets hit by a binding, gets held in place, and he drops. So pure madness in the early fight around the river.
And overall, the kills are even. The gold count is still about 1,000 in favor of Kansas State. So all in all, not too much changes. We have a couple of extra gold going on to crucial party members here, as Western Kentucky, their 80 carry now, has picked up 2 kills for himself, so he's gone back and completed that Ghost Blade in addition to some boots for his feet. On the top side, though, Sion picked up 2 of those kills in that fight for Kansas State. He's got a full-on Sunfire cape now.
Right, I mean, he's pretty strong, a 4-kill Sion. I mean, you don't usually think of Sion as the biggest threat in terms of damage, but if he ever gets, you know, a couple kills, finishes his items early, he does become extremely hard to kill. And just being there alive on your backline can make it so hard to team fight correctly.
Well, we see both of these teams return into the scene of the crime, trying to start off that Infernal Drake. The extra AD and AP that it will provide. Of course, very, very coveted stats on the map. However, both of these teams know that. Both of these teams are continuously poking and warding up around there as Ryzen actually getting caught out with a binding, chains into another one from that Chain of Corruption. Ryzen's gonna wind up going down, but the trade kill comes out from Tex the Cat. The Zyra Stranglethorn's damage, dealing massive amounts of damage. Now chilling, kind of caught out a little bit here.
Yet.
He's gonna get caught out by Shiki. Does wind up getting the binding and the pull down, but he's gonna wind up falling to Tex the Cat, but Zyra goes down as well as, yeah. Zach comes in. Now Emirati's rotating around here. Corki's kind of come down from the other side. Nautilus is hovering down by the mid lane. It looks like everybody just continuously wants to fight.
I mean, some people come into games scared, they're nervous, they're playing on stream in front of people. It feels like the exact opposite in this game. Kansas State and Western Kentucky want to put on a show.
Oh yeah, Shiki's gonna be the one to start up the dragon here. There is a ward from the side of Kansas State, and Zach is hovering around. Smite's available. Corki's here. Ziggs is here. Are they going to want to start the fight is the main question. Sion is not. There's no teleport available. Zach's going to hop in, but he goes over the Vault Breaker. The Assault and Battery goes down, but Masklink takes him out as now Dem Boys has arrived to the fight. Zenfrog's going to get taken extremely low. The slow is there from the stretchy arms as Dem Boys picks up a kill on the backside of that fight. They take down Nautilus, and now it's Kansas State that set their eyes onto the dragon.
Western Kentucky's not going to let it go, though. They're walking through back into the fight. Texas Cat's coming in, going to try and drop him down.
Ooh, the curtain call comes out. They're trying to get damage on the Masklink. They scare away the king as Dragon's still at 2,000 HP. Things pretty healthy. Everybody wants to fight over Dragon.
The Dragon's putting up the strongest fight. He's forced multiple people out of his pit, and now he's turned his anger onto Tex the Cat, who's isolated in the pit.
Oh, Tex the Cat! He's taking a lot of damage, Western Kentucky.
No!
Oh, he's gonna take him down!
What?
Infernal Dragon assisting out to the hail of arrows from Varus.
We often talk about how you can watch the LCS if you want to watch well-played dragon baiting and objective control. If you want a bloodbath, you watch this series.
We're not done, Mark! We're not done! Shiki gets caught out by a binding. He gets hit up by the hail of arrows. The Sion ultimate's just in there for style points. Another kill picked up by Dem Boys chilling in the bot lane.
And sometime during all this, I don't know when, top turret went down for Kansas State. They get first turret gold as well. So now they have grown their lead seemingly out of nowhere to a 4,000 gold lead.
Well, Jin's around. Is he going to try to get the Deadly Flourish steal onto the dragon? It looks like he won't. He decides to go back to the bottom lane and
no sneaky W.
No sneaky W. After that fight started, and I'm using started as a liberal term here, 5 kills and 5 kills on the board. It's like now 11-7 with 1 tower down in Kansas State's favor.
It's like the 100 Years War, Tom. It just doesn't end. They just keep fighting over and over. Now the dragon's gone. Looks like they're going to be able to focus on other things as Masklink roams up to the top side to punish the Nautilus trying to push the wave in.
And he's fighting on the package, so that's burned out. He misses the dredge line against the wall, so he's not going to be able to have that escape maneuver. The phosphorus bomb comes out. One more rocket, a Valkyrie forward, and an auto attack will secure the kill. Masklink picks up his 3rd of the game, and we're back to the bottom lane, Mark. Dem Boys goes down as Raisin picks up that kill. Now Tex the Cat and Ryzen are getting bounced all over. The Stranglethorns comes out, the flash away from Morgana. The Soul Shackles is on Zyra. Zac is on top of Jhin. The heal comes out. The Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, and the cavalry comes in for Western Kentucky. They're galloping to the aid of their compadres in the bottom lane, and Tex the Cat will pick up a kill on Chillin.
And in the end, I Am Neil teleports down, but doesn't have his ultimate available. He's unable to get involved in the team fight, as Ryzen decides to shoot some Jhin ult just to say, hey, get away from me.
I mean, they might not be done. That could just potentially be a tower dive.
I mean, if anything, this game has taught me that this is the tower dive coming.
Well, Neil
Vi has ultimate, why not?
The teleport's channeled, they're tanking the minion. Are they gonna want it going in? The bomb comes out from Ziggs, but it looks like they're trying to force him away from the tower. The king is in the brushes, he's waiting. Are they gonna let them do this? They hook on to Neil. Neil's getting locked up. Neil's taking a lot of damage, a lot of ultimates, but in comes the king, and them boys is returned. The chain of corruption goes out. The arrow pierces through. They've picked up 2 kills already for the side of Kansas State. Emirati, no mana, no summoners, no life.
And they're still going. Jhin might be in range, ultimately unable to finish him off. Oh my God, Tom, we're gonna need a long break between games.
Oh man, it was 11-7 2 minutes ago. 15-9, Kansas State.
How are we 17 minutes in the game already? I feel like this game's flying by.
It's 5,000 gold in the lead, 5,500 now as that tower goes down in favor of Kansas State, and they've just run away with this game. The constant fighting is definitely favoring the composition with more upfront in-your-face threats than the kind of long-range threats Western Kentucky has.
I mean, this is definitely not the kind of game Kentucky should be playing. They should be playing around their ultimates much heavier. You want to go in when Vi has everything up. You want to go for a single target pick, but these scrappy fights just keep coming in over and over. And Kansas State, I mean, they're not like they're smashing these team fights 4-0. They're extended ones. As once again, another fight breaks out. Ryzen gets popped up. He gets sniped out. Dem Boys on a killing spree.
Yeah, Dem Boys was not out of lane phase unscathed. I think it was like 0-1-3. Has now gotten himself up to be 6-3-4, so he's out damaging that Jhin now. A blue buff steal is coming in for the side of Kansas State, and
do I get a breather? Do we get to breathe Kansas into Kentucky? You guys done? You guys done?
I don't know about that. Shiki in his own jungle.
They can't be fighting when they recall, right? They're in their own base. Right? We're safe.
I don't know about that. I've seen base dies extremely early on. I remember one specific Korean top laner by the name of Mac Noon who used to live in his enemy's base at 7 minutes. But
and here we go. Just when you think you might get a brief reprieve, Nautilus caught out again the top side as Corki is roaming up to joining on the Zac, trying to pick him off.
Ooh, we actually do end up having the Let's Bounce comes out. Corki continuing to provide the DPS. Zenfrog looks like he's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Maskling on a killing spree.
They pick him off yet again. Zenfrog kind of overextending over and over again in the top side, trying to get the wave into turret, try and grab their first turret of the game. They're unable to do so. Now Chillin is a little too far up in the mid lane. Luckily gets the black shield off in time, and that deters the ultimate from coming in from Shiki.
This kind of looks like, oh, the Rift Herald goes down.
Rift Herald, baby, we almost didn't get it. 19 minutes in.
Let's see.
Last minute.
I'm assuming this one goes over to Sion as...
No, they don't. They both want it.
They want it.
Oh, goes over to...
Corki?
Yeah, I think...
Corki's got it. He's got the glimpse of the void.
All right.
It's like when you get into like one of those normal games you're playing with your friends and like the Rift Herald goes down, everybody stands on it like, oh, this is mine!
I mean, that's definitely what this game resembles more than anything else I've seen in terms of competitive League of Legends. Much more like that normal queue friend game.
This is like that solo queue game where you just go back and forth, you try to gank early, say you're gonna provide early pressure, and before you know it, it's 10 minutes in, everybody's dead, and you're like, all right guys, we gotta regroup. Is Emirati taking a lot of damage underneath his own tower, even though that was a fight started by Western Kentucky, opening up with the curtain call. Dem Boys goes forward, flashes backwards, finds a Maskling, but the Assault and Battery comes out. Dem Boys gets locked up, the exhaust comes down, in comes Zac. Dem Boys survive!
The level up keeping him alive.
The king has come, and the fight is on. Zenfrog taking the poke damage as Maskling goes on a rampage. The west of Kansas State is in the side of Western Kentucky's red side jungle, and they are not letting up.
Yeah, but what are they going to get off at, Tom? That might have just been a crazy fight in the jungle. Seems like it's a little risky to continue pushing. Kansas State going to back away here and just deal with some minion waves.
Well, that was a catch you would think on Dem Boys, but they wind up getting out because everybody else from Kansas State was around, and Western Kentucky continuing with the aggression, continuing to lose HP bars. 20 minutes into the game, 8,000 gold behind.
Dem Boys with 200 health trying to push up and snipe off Ryzen.
No!
I knew that I was about to say, he's gonna die. What is he doing? He's at 200 health running at the enemy team. You see the question mark pings come out from his teammates. Everyone's wondering, dude, what were you doing there?
That's that solo queue mentality where you've killed your opponent and you decide you're going to tilt them even more by typing that single question mark in all chat. That's what just happened right there. Because now Shiki getting caught out. The Valkyrie forward with the package means that Massen's taking a lot of damage to this fight. He wants to take down the Vi, and now Zach has come over the wall. They want revenge. They killed them boys. They're kind of getting back for him.
Yeah, I mean, Masklink is fed. He's 6-1 and 6. He's got that glimpse of the void. He's dropping a lot of damage onto the enemy team as now Sion is teleporting in. He wants to get involved, but looks like the rest of the team might be
No, he's going.
When has that ever mattered?
Zach jumps in, and his buddy Sion helps take down Tex the Cat. 3, 3, and 5 now for Zyra. The rest of the team has showed up. Zenfrog has teleported in. I didn't even notice this, but poor Zenfrog's Nautilus, after dying at level 1, has proceeded to go 2, 8, and 2.
I mean, it's hard to keep up with exactly who's dying how many times because it's an onslaught, constant fighting going on. Here, somehow a dragon goes down without someone dying, though. Horizon's low. I shouldn't speak too soon.
Yeah, I mean, that could just be one Corki snipe or Varus arrow away from going down.
He's going for it.
Masklink wants it. He wants the last shot. Ooh, Sion flash over the wall.
The entire team wants it.
The piercing arrow gets it. Oh, they're going to take down the Ziggs as well. The chains of corruption go down. Shiki tries to assault and battery somebody, but it's a double kill to the Corki. And chaos. Mass chaos, Mark.
Chaos reigns. As now they're looking for Baron buff 22 minutes into the game. Usually I say that's too soon, you should be careful, but this is not a game that follows any sort of logic, just go for it.
You got multiple items on your Varus, thousands of gold still on your Corki in the bank account. You got 2 finished items on Sion at 20-something minutes, and then we got Zenfrog thinking he's gonna do something around this Baron pit. They're stopping DPS around 1,500. The smite comes out, the King will secure that one.
With the amount of kills in this game, they have way more gold than you would usually have 23 minutes into the game. You see most people sitting on 1 to 2 items already, potentially more. Kansas State very fed, able to go in and secure that Baron just 23 minutes in.
And this game has just been completely blown wide open off the back of fights like this one, where everybody's kind of competing for the kills. Is them boys. Pinpoint accuracy.
I don't think either of these teams are aware that you have a button on your keyboard that sends you back to base, which will allow you to heal up. These guys thinking that they need to go in through death back to the fountain. They think it's ARAM.
They actually have a button too. If you hit the S key, it's called stop. And none of them seem to be hitting that button.
I mean, you need to find the B key. Go B. This is not ARAM. I know it's the Blood Moon map. Maybe that's confusing them too. They don't know what game mode they're playing. They think they're on some kind of like fun temporary release game mode from Riot. Nope. This is your campus series, guys.
This is a crazy, crazy game. 24 kills on one side, 10 on the other, and we're just hitting 24 minutes into the game.
I don't know if I can do another game of this, Tom. I'm ready for bed. This game is taking it out of me.
I'm super excited for the next game of this, but I'm play-by-play, so.
Oh yeah.
I always got hyped up for crazy.
I'm trying to rationalize their decision making. It's just not happening as Ryzen gets a little. Oh
my God!
Absolutely popped by Masklink. He's not done looking for the Zyra. He's still hunting.
Infinity Edge Trinity Force Corki. The exhaust comes out, but Zyra's still gonna go down for a double kill. Masklink, 10-1 and 7.
Kansas State is not letting up. They are pressuring all 3 lanes at once, taking turrets down nonstop. They grab the mid inner as they pressure the bot inhibitor turret. Sion's moving down, trying to help them get this one, as it looks like Kansas State is grouping up to finish off this mid inhibitor turret.
I mean, part of me wants to be like, look at this itemization, but they might wind up fighting again, so I don't know.
No time.
They're taking on 2 inhibitor towers at the same exact time, so anything could happen here. Now 15,000 gold in the lead. You just look at, this is a great camera view, by the way. You get to see both of them going down at the exact same time, just the movements from everybody on the map. Western Kentucky, they want to fight. They can't fight. If they do fight, they will lose.
You don't think they can fight, Tom? Look at this. The Jin ult comes in. Tex the Cat dies.
Tex the Cat gets caught out, CC'd down, the chain CC from the Morgana Dark Binding, from the Chains of Corruption, from all of the lockdown, all of the pick potential. You thought Western Kentucky had the composition that would single someone out and blow them up. Kansas State is using it against them right now as chaos is breaking out. Double kills for the AD carry, a single kill for the AD carry marksman that's in the mid lane this time. And Mark, game number 1. Only 25.5 minutes. It feels like a lifetime with all these kills, but Kansas State, not quite done going to dive the Summoner's platform, but they are going to take game 1, I would say convincingly, I would say chaotically, but none of those fully describe that game.
It was convincing in the sense it was a 25-minute game, but it was also horribly unconvincing in the sense that nothing made any sense.
That was just, it was League of Legends as Riot Games intended it. I'm going to use that reference.
Was this a sub war? Did we just get a sub war from someone's stream? What was that a real Campus Series game?
That was the bloodiest Campus Series game we have seen thus far. And we've had some bloody level 1 plays. We've had some very chaotic games, but that was just, instead of going for objectives and setting up vision control and a lot of the things that these teams want to work on, they just went full Campus Series.
See hero, kill hero, in the wise words of the old M5. Anyways, let's take a look at the first replay. Let's just get right into it. It's a bloody game, not much to break down. We'll take a look at the first blood.
It starts from level 1, like right out of the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, both teams group up as 5, charge into each other at the river, and this is just Zenfrog overextending a little bit, gets knocked up by that Scion Q. You see the power of it. CC on multiple targets all at the same time. That is what allows them to grab the first blood.
That kind of seemed like that play where like you're sitting there and you're like, all right, our level 1 is really good. Is their level 1 better than ours? And the answer, yeah.
I think the answer was, I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, clearly that was the answer that wound up happening in that one, but the chaos continued all the way through into the middle stages of the game. By the middle stages, I mean about 10 minutes in, because the game was only 25 and a half minutes long. There was a dragon fight that led to a Western Kentucky University victory, believe it or not, before even more chaos developed.
I hope this is not the full replay, because I'm pretty sure that would be about a 10-minute replay. Yeah, exactly. So hopefully this is just the small one at the Dragon Pit where we see, this is when Kansas State was a little unorganized as they were going in. We see the Scion TP come in from behind. He's going to ult right into Ryzen on Jin. That's going to set this fight up where the Zach is going to start channeling to come in as well, but we see Neil not on the same page. He flashes out to dodge the Jin W right as his Zach goes in. So Zach's a little bit alone. Now the rest of the team's collapsing in, and it turns into a little bit of a crazy fight as now the Morgana's there, and Masslink doing a lot of damage, but he's caught out, and from there it ends up, like you said, a 3 for 2.
And this is kind of the most organized team fight that we had in this one, and Western Kentucky...
That's saying something.
Yeah, it definitely is. But Western Kentucky, when they had this setup, they were really solid. They were able to kind of like navigate this team fight and wind up taking it, even though they were already slightly behind from the first blood and losing out on some of the fights earlier on. They were still able to kind of coordinate throughout the rest of the team fight, and it wound up working out very well for them. But when it kind of devolved into the, oh, like we can fight them, we should do that all the time, it just did not work.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a point where you're like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous when you see people at 200 health walking forward, continuing trying to pick fights as 80 carries, and that's when it's like, all right, you might want to settle down a little bit. I think the MVPs this game were the observers able to capture all that action somehow.
Definitely. And we also got that really cool slow motion replay of the Varus Knight coming out from there. But we got to take a quick break. I don't know if you guys want to, but we definitely need it after that game 1. When we return, we'll see if Western Kentucky can kind of fix some of those fixable errors and come back for game 2. Hello and welcome back. We just watched Kansas State really take it to Western Kentucky. So Mark, I normally ask you what the losing team has to do to pull out a win here, but instead I'm going to ask you, what do you want to see that's different in game 2?
As much as I love bloodshed and aggressive plays, at some point it becomes a little much. So I think both these teams, hopefully they take a breather, they settle down a little bit for game 2, and they start looking to use their comps for how they're drafting them. Because after that one, it just seemed like if they didn't care what their champions did, they just wanted to hit the guy in front of them.
That's super true, and we'll have to see what changes they actually make as we get into picks and bans for game number 2. Western Kentucky, like you said, they had a composition that looked solid on paper. They had I'm going to single one target out, we're going to poke them down, and then we're going to kind of either force them away from the objective or just do that all over again, but they did not do that.
Right, I mean, they had a team comp with a lot of poke, followed up with a lot of hard engage, so you think you poke them a little low, and then you pull the trigger and go. But I mean, it's hard to poke someone down when you're constantly just running headlong into each other. So, I mean, both these guys got to settle down. It wasn't like Kansas State was the shining example of clean League of Legends gameplay.
Now, Kansas State, they had a lot of lockdown potential, which was one of their big strong suits. They had the Varus Chain of Corruption, they had the Morgana Dark Binding. If you hit that on somebody, it was long enough for Sion to charge up his stun. The Zac could wind up doing something as well. So they definitely had a lot of crowd control on their side, which made things look a little bit more organized from them. But they were also just kind of literally throwing their bodies at each other. I mean, they had a Sion and a Zac whose entire kits are throwing themselves into a fight. So.
Right, so let's hopefully get into pick ban. I don't know what these guys are going to change up from game 1 to game 2 because it's really hard to identify what was a problem, what wasn't the problem. Potentially the Corki, because that really went off and was a huge threat, as well as the Varus. Maybe Western Kentucky tries to prioritize that and take that away. We'll have to see.
Well, Western Kentucky apparently listened to your advice immediately, and they banned the Corki away, so that's going to be something that's not going to go over to Maskling's side, because they did wind up having a lot of wave clear on their side. Varus and Corki combined for that, and there's a lot of poke and a lot of roam.
And the Katarina ban makes so much sense now. If this is how the game's going to go, you don't want any reset assassins in the game. Take them all out, ban them all. Katarina's a good place to start, though Western Kentucky returns to the victor ban.
Well, that also makes it more interesting that Kha'Zix went through the entire pick and ban phase not being selected, because you want a resetting assassin. Kha'Zix kind of screams to me as the one jungler you want.
Yeah, you would think so. LeBlanc ban coming in for Kansas State, another one that makes sense. You're trying to limit their kind of burst potential, what they can do on the map. Morgana, the last ban for Western Kentucky. It's interesting that they thought that was a problem because it felt like they were doing fine in the bot lane before all the craziness broke out, and it wasn't really the Morgana that mattered, it was the fact that both teams were fighting way too much.
It indicates to me that they really want to force the Vi in the jungle again, because the Morgana, as you mentioned in Champion Select for the first game, very good at stopping whoever's going to be singled out by the Assault and Battery. You block shield yourself, yeah, Vi's going to go with you, but you can just kind of waltz away from it, which is going to be a big problem. And if they identify like, hey, our Siles were just going to fight all the time, then banning that Morgana away, maybe just the fact of like, oh, well, if that's not there, then we can get in. But already been proved wrong because they decided to take the Zac away instead.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they thought the Zac was a little bit of an issue. I agree if there's going to be a ton of fighting, Zac is a little bit annoying to deal with, both in terms of the revive passive, the sustain, the long range engage. So Kentucky says, we don't want you to get that again, we're going to grab it this time.
Well, now it's on Kansas State, and they wound up picking Gnar, a champion that we don't see being contested very often, and they pick it first.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see them grab that first and blind. I mean, it's always been this kind of really sticky fighter, really like scrapping, chasing people up and down lanes.
Oh, perfect.
But I mean, yeah, that's why it makes a little bit of sense. But usually you'd want to at least know the matchup before you grab it. As we see, the other thing being that Kansas State grabs being the Graves, a little bit more traditional of a pick. We see it being used all over the world. It's been changed a little bit with how you play it, going a lot more for the burst lethality build than the DPS one. So the Graves pick makes a lot of sense there. And then we see on the flip side, Western Kentucky grabbing the Jhin, trying to grab that one again. It did all right, I think. It was just that the game was a little too crazy.
Yeah, it was a bit of a busy kind of game. The Jhin in the lane phase wound up coming out kind of ahead of the Varus overall. They do wind up pairing with the Malzahar this time around, so it's not the Zyra, it's not kind of the same lockdown potential, you know, pre-level 6 that Malzahar is going to have. The Voidlings have been also changed this patch. They don't necessarily move as fast, they spawn a little bit slower, so you don't have like the same skill shot blocking potential, but it is going to be a pickup that's still extremely powerful in a bully lane.
Right, and I'm interested to see how it's used, because one of the things you used to do all the time was double drop your Voidlings, flash ult somebody. That combo is a lot slower now, though the damage should be relatively untouched, as we see Kansas grabbing the Azir. He's an extremely strong pickup, not uncommon to see as we see the Draven come in. This is a champion that would love that last game, assuming that you managed to get a kill or two early. You get to cash in on those Draven stacks right away.
And this is very interesting, considering both of these teams are just kind of
I mean, Western Kentucky's picking pretty much for like a composition kind of style, but Kansas State, they came out of game number 1. They're just kind of picking what they want directly in order. We got top laner for top, jungle for jungle, mid lane for mid, 80 carry for 80 carry. Now we got a support pick as their last pick overall.
Yeah, we'll see what they go with as we see Western Kentucky grabbing the Trundle for the top lane. Gnar, it's an interesting matchup. I've heard it go both ways, where people say they think Trundle is better into Gnar. You have the sustain to deal with his harass with the passive coming in, and then you can chase him down the lane with your speed up in the pillar. You can knock him out of his jump. So some people say it's fine for Trundle. So I'll be interested to see exactly what they decide to do with that. As we see, the last thing that comes in is the Tahm Kench. So there's actually going to be one of these going into the support role. The Malzahar will be going mid, most likely. And then I'm not sure if it's the Trundle top or the Tahm Kench top.
Oh, that's very true. Trundle could potentially be that flex pick in the support role as well. And as you saw, the last pick coming in for Kansas State being the Blitzcrank support. Not the most traditional support, but definitely a nuisance in the bottom lane.
Right, and if we take a look at the draft recap, we can see exactly what both these teams were going for. On the side of Kansas State, their team comp, I wouldn't say makes a ton of sense as a whole. Definitely looking more for comfort picks and a lot of early aggression, especially given how last game went. It kind of makes sense that you assumed you're going to be in a lot of these scrappy situations where team comp doesn't matter quite as much. Whereas on the flip side, Western Kentucky has a very tanky front line, and they have the ability to go split push a fair amount. So two very different style team comps here, though. I mean, who knows what's going to matter once you finally get into the game, because the first one was absolutely crazy.
That's right, and Western Kentucky did wind up going with the Trundle in the top lane, Zach in the jungle, and Tahm Kench support, so a little bit more traditional roles for everybody. But we want to know who you guys are going to think are going to win this second match, because after the first one, we have absolutely no idea ourselves. So tweet either hashtag WKU or hashtag Kansas State to @uLoL, of course, and make your pick. So as we head into the second game, I mean, all bets are off. We have no idea what's going to happen. Maybe it'll be as explosive as before. Maybe it'll be completely opposite.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I would hope it's explosive like the first game, because it is really jarring to go from a really fast-paced game like that to a really slow one, and especially given the two comps that we have here, especially on the side of Kansas State being a lot more kind of comfort-based.
Anything could happen in this game. And as we do see, it's going to be Trundle in the top lane, Zach in the jungle. So it is the Tahm Kench support.
All right, as we see both teams heading down to the bot side a little bit. Trundle not joining them, so not quite the 5-man stack, though Kansas State looks like they want round 2.
Yeah,
they have the Blitzcrank for it.
Blitzcrank level 1. Super strong. Nothing else beats the hook. Unless you maybe hook the Trundle or the Zach.
Yeah, you 5-stack and you let them pull your tank, and then you fight them.
Ooh, but Tahm Kench places the ward down. So Western Kentucky going to be
they're baiting
well
it.
awares, but they continue to go for this.
I mean, you have the
shield is
Malzahar
up.
with the passive. They can't actually stop that.
Ooh, the Voidlands come out as well. This slingshot comes in from Zach. The King has to flash away, as does Chilling. Them boys flashes as well. It's Flash Bonanza coming out from the side of Kansas State. Chilling's actually going to hook in Trundle towards himself, gets the cards of Colossus Shield. Shots coming out onto I Am Neil, and that's another flash burn. That is
no one's going to die?
No, but there's 4 flashes and an exhaust burn, all on that fight. And 4 of those flashes on the side of Kansas State.
Right, so everyone but Azir loses their flash for Kentucky. All they lost was that exhaust. So that was a great plan by Kentucky. Actually, you expect an invade to come in when you see that Blitzcrank pick. They drop the ward and they pull back further and further into their jungle until they're finally ready to spring the trap on them. You have the Malzahar sit in the front, so in case the Blitzcrank shoots a blind hook in there, it has no effect. And then you have the Zach level is E, level 1, and basically pop everybody up. And Western Kentucky's level 1 is actually not very good at all, and if they had a slightly better level 1, they can really win that fight. Trundle doesn't do that much early on. Zach after that jump is not doing a ton, and Malzahar, I didn't see what he leveled up there.
Even for the Voidlings.
Yeah, the Voidlings are strong, but it's not too crazy as the rest of the team isn't able to do too much.
Maybe if those Voidlings are a little bit faster and Malzahar is far away, maybe it was the nerfs.
Maybe it was the nerfs. We'll have to see, but overall, crazy level 1, nothing actually happens in terms of kills, though a lot of flashes are down, which is going to be paradise for Zach, who is an extremely strong early ganker.
We already saw him leveling up the slingshot extremely early, level 1 there, to get the multi-man knock-up. He's going to have that potential. We've seen Zach already have a chance for not only favoring kind of the tank versus tank matchups where he may have a little bit of extra CC, or in this case a Trundle pillar to stop a Gnar from hopping away, but also for chance for ganking that mid lane matchup. Well, if Malzahar specifically at level 6 will really be able to lock somebody down. So keep our eyes peeled for the Zach, as well as this bottom lane matchup here. I can't really think of a lane matchup that is more annoying to play against. Maybe not the most bully of a lane matchup, but annoying.
Very scary to play against, because
Yeah.
you're terrified of getting hooked, blown up, and then Draven cashing in on his stacks early on. You have to be very conscious of where you stand as we see them willing to walk up. The Dem Boys gets opened up on a little bit as King has invaded onto Shtick. He's going to be able to pop his passive, but he has no flash.
He can't get up, he can't chase after. So Zach is going to flash and get away, so he will stay alive. We'll get both of his buffs as well, but
he does get bullied out, going to lose his Gromp as well on this one as we see the hook land onto the Tahm Kench. Not the ideal target, but still does a good amount of damage back.
It doesn't quite have that gray health available yet. Has gone for the Tongue Lash and the Devour early on, so he's not going to necessarily have that extra HP regeneration. Burns through one of his total biscuits of rejuvenation, whereas on the flip side, Chilling has actually already used 2 of his own because they had that early level 1 fight where everyone was popping pots and trying to stay alive. Looks like another hook goes down on Tex the Cat. He's going to get knocked up right there. Still only level 2. The stand aside from Draven. They're going to wind up eating Blitzcrank. Tries to flash spit him out into the tower, but he's going to wind up being spit out beforehand. First Blood goes over to the Blitzcrank, and Ryzen not going to be able to pick up the kill.
Right, a little bit of a surprise there probably for Kentucky, the fact that you're playing against an Ignite in the bot lane instead of an Exhaust, as Shiggy makes a play on the mid lane, but the Azir is able to just scoot out of there, doesn't actually lose his flash. The one guy who does have a flash, a little surprising to see him look to mid lane on the one guy who has an escape spell and his flash available.
He's never going to use it. He's saved it for a specific reason. He'll use it when the time comes. But yeah, like you said, the Zac City has a chance for ganking mid lane. It's a little bit easier for him. It's actually Dem Boys getting a lot of damage down on Ryzen. Actually wants to trade in the flash as well, so no summoner spells available for Jhin. The exhaust just coming back up for Tex the Cat, and I mean, things are looking like game 1.
Yeah, it started off relatively fight heavy here. Only 1 kill, 4.5 minutes in. But on the side of Kansas State, they already have 1,500 gold lead basically off the back of some CS leads in the top and bot lane, as well as that First Blood gold.
First Blood, as you mentioned, did go to Kansas State. Still with about, like you said, 1,000 gold lead. Zach still kind of trying to put pressure down into the mid lane, but like you said, it's the one lane that actually has summoners available. That bottom lane from the Draven, the Blitzcrank have been pushed up quite frequently, but we have seen them come back and buy some items. First up, Dem Boys actually looks like he's going to be going for a little bit of a change in build. Normally Draven favors everything that builds out a BF sword. This time around, picking up a serrated Dirk early on, maybe a little bit more lethal of a Draven build.
Right, I mean, that is a build that you can potentially go for, is that more lethality-based build. It puts a lot of power into your ultimate, and I think it's a totally fine one to go for. It's just depending on what you think is going to happen this game. There are a lot of tanks on the side of Western Kentucky, so in a small sense, it's surprising, but if you watch the last game, you know that there's probably not going to be any shortage of kills, and if you're able to get ahead early, Draven becomes an absolute terror.
And the one thing is that you also have the Trundle picked up from the side of Western Kentucky, so you do, at level 6, have the have his ultimate to be able to just steal away some of those resistances from the Blitzcrank, potentially from the Gnar, who won't be your traditional kind of tank. Gnar does like wind up building a bit more HP, but not necessarily all the resistances that the standard kind of tank pickups will. Is now Shiki coming up into the top lane. He's going to get a gank down onto I Am Neil, but Neil has the hop, has his ultimate available. He's also going to wind up transforming here, but Emirati comes out from the side. The Nethergrass goes out as well. They're going to lock down this Gnar before he can even flash away.
A great roam there by the mid laner of Western Kentucky, being the final thing needed to make sure that they're able to secure that kill. Locks down the Gnar after he goes Mega Form, and they pick the kill up. I Am Neil still has his flash, so they're not able to force that one out, but a good gank overall, as now we see the King making his own play down to the bot side, though the TP comes in, unsure if they'll be able to finish this one off.
Yep, Zenfrog just channeling that teleport. Will actually wind up completing it, so aiding a little reprieve to his bottom side of the map. As you mentioned, the King did mosey his way down here. Not going to wind up going for the dive, though. The Trundle coming in.
Right, and now this is nice because it buys I Am Neil some time to walk up to the top side. Going to be able to get up there while Zenfrog's down here not getting much done, losing out on CS himself.
It's like he's just hanging around and just wants to prevent the potential dive as the hook does not land on Tex the Cat. The King is actually stuck around as well, so a bit of a party in the bot lane here. It looks like not all too much is going to get done. We'd have a small roam coming from Emirati, but it looks like as soon as he realized he was spotted out and the jungler had gone back, Malzahar as well shall return to the mid lane.
And now we see on the top side, Shiki grabbing that farm that was going to go to waste otherwise, as the wave ended up going into the turret of Zenfrog. So it's nice that he's able to get up there and catch up a little bit on gold and XP. And in the meantime, we see that the Phage has been completed by I Am Neil. This is really what makes Gnar so annoying. He's a little bit easy to deal with, you know, in the early levels. Still a pretty annoying champion, but once he starts getting the move speed increases, he gets his Frozen Mallet to stop you from moving quickly. and then he starts shredding your armor with the Black Cleaver while also getting tanky. He becomes a little bit of a nightmare to deal with in the long lanes. But I don't know if we're going to be having one of those slow, harass-heavy games. We'll have to see.
Don't think so. Although things have slowed down from the pace of game number 1. We're 8 minutes in. There's only 2 kills on the board.
Not from a lack of trying, though. There's been a lot of fighting around the bot lane. There's been the gank top side. There's even been an attempt mid, so plenty of attempts as Ryzen just gets caught out. Dem Boys cashing in.
Spoke too soon.
Spoke way too soon.
Dem Boys picks us up a nice kill. Chillin's gonna tank a couple of tower shots as
you guys
Dem
aren't
Boys.
Olaf. I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know, but in the meanwhile, Masley gonna get flash and nether grassed upon. He is gonna get the barrier, the flash away as well, but the flash lets bounce from Shiki. Emirati's gonna pick up that kill. The Cell Division passive is gonna get popped. The King has actually come in here, tries to duel with Emirati, realizes he might want to just go for the Zac right here. Zac's gonna reform, but the King's gonna take him down.
Yeah, I mean, Graves is a great champion for finishing off a Zac who's been split up into a Cell Division. If you want to, you can always just ult it right as it comes together. Ultimately doesn't need to do that. King picks it up, holding on to that spell, and in the bot lane, Kansas State grabs first outer turret gold. I don't know if they put it entirely onto Dem Boys, but either way, he's a strong Draven with 80 CS, first blood. Or he didn't get first blood, he just picked up a kill there, and then they grabbed the turret as well, so we'll take another look at that.
Yeah, he cashes in on the Draven stacks, which is really the key thing. At this point, like you mentioned, the fact that you're building lethality really makes that Draven ultimate pack a punch, and as we see right here, just one axe into the ultimate, a stand aside, kills him even before it can enter Tom Kinch's mouth.
Yeah, and he even popped the heal there as well, so just not knowing the damage that a Draven can do. And that's one of the things that I was talking about, where I think that they pick mostly for comfort, as we see the follow-up gank that happened in the mid lane. When you pick mostly for comfort and the other team isn't comfortable in those matchups, you're going to know what's going to happen way better than they are. And in such a bloodthirsty game, it's not about executing overall team strategy so much as knowing what to do in the micro situations.
Well, that's one of the things that we said is a strength out of the Campus Series games, the fact that those micro decisions, those individual lane versus lane, player versus player matchup decisions can make or break a game. As now we see Dem Boys with a completed Ghostblade opening up onto Ryzen. He picks up yet another kill for Draven.
Whoa, that was not how you use Azir, talking about micro situations.
The Azir might not be the most comfortable of picks for him then, as now Chilling in a flash after Text the Cat. The Ignite is down. One axe could be it. The stand aside. One last auto attack, and Dem Boys on a killing spree.
We have a snowballing Draven alert. We need an alarm for this. This is the warning. No, not an air horn. You need like a warning bell. As Emirati comes over the wall, getting right onto Blitzcrank, but that's not the target he wants.
Yeah,
he's gonna go down.
3 people around him, and he's just standing still at that nether grass, and it's another kill to Draven. The snowball continues at 4-0-1.
I mean, that's one of the reasons you tend to see support Malzahar more, is because you're fine trading your life for someone else in that situation. As Ryzen walks up to the turret, he thinks he's fine, but now Dem Boys wants to get the dive off. They're not done quite yet. They're still going down there, as now Ryzen's gonna open up from the side of the turret, try and pin them underneath, but they're gonna be able to get out.
Yeah, the crit shot comes through onto Chilling. Deathfire touch ticking away, but the
TP.
Yep, the quick little deadly flourish will lock onto Dem Boys, but the TP comes in from Zenfrog. The pillar is out. Can they wind up getting the kill on Dem Boys? He's got a blue buff. It looks juicy, but there's a teleport coming in from Gnar. I Am Neil's in the backside. Zenfrog running away, turning on the Chillin. Is he gonna try to get the kill on the Blitzcrank? Instead, he's getting slowed. He's getting kited. He will pick up the kill. Now the exhaust comes out onto I Am Neil. He's still stacking up that rage bar. He teleported in as the mini Gnar, so he's not gonna be able to do anything. Mass Link with no mana, and they back away.
Able to pick up a kill though, so that's good for the side of Western Kentucky, but they are continuing to fall further and further behind, now down 5,000 gold. And it's a lot of it concentrated onto that Draven. I would love to see the gold differential right now for them.
He's also got a 10 CS advantage, and asking you shall receive.
2.5K, 10 minutes into the game. That is a fed 80 carry. 80 carries in 2017, Tom, come on.
I don't know, man. This is the biggest 80 carry this fast into the game I think I have seen in a very long time. That includes the games I'm playing 80 carry against somebody much better than me.
Well, I mean, no one's good in those games.
Yeah, they're against me.
Yeah, that's my point. As we see on the side of Kansas State, pretty large CS leads all over the map. 70 to 30 essentially in the jungle. There's another 30 CS lead in the top lane, 30 CS lead in the bot lane. Overall, going vastly in their favor on top of the kills and the turrets now. Kansas State looking good, looking real good.
I mean, Kansas State now, like you said, 6,000 gold in the lead. Dem Boys is fed enough on Draven to just invade the enemy jungle and almost take down the jungler in a 1v2 situation. Tex the Cat wants it coming in. He's going to go down the chill, and the Nethergrass did go out into Dem Boys, but he's got enough health to stay alive all through that. Not even a completed item yet onto that Malzahar. Now Ryzen's going to be taking a lot of damage as the King comes around the side. Emirati's over there. The Deadly Flourish comes out as well. They just try to stun up onto the Graves. The Blitzcrank hook goes a little bit wide. Dem Boy's going to be catching a couple of axes, taking a little bit of damage. Curtain Call comes out. That's a low HP Jhin. Dem Boys, can he put the moves on? Will get out of the Curtain Call. It's the collateral damage.
Oh, he gave away his position trying to snipe out Dem Boys. The King comes in from the top side and finishes him off with collateral damage. That's a tilter right there for Ryzen.
Man, the King just lets him know, if you're going to step at the King's team, you better not miss.
He missed.
He did, twice.
And that's the problem for Western Kentucky right now. So they're just not actually able to convert very well on any of these plays. Previously in the bot lane, there's the TPN. They only got a 1-for-0, I think, or a 1-for-1. So they're struggling to keep up as, once again, very, very scrappy, but Kansas State generally coming out on top.
Yeah, it's a 4-0-3 Draven, a 2-1-2 Blitzcrank, a 2-0-0 Grave. So like you mentioned, besides maybe the Blitzcrank, a lot of the carries getting a decent amount of gold. And even though the Azir hasn't had the most influence in these fights and has had a couple questionable Shurima shuffles, the fact of the matter that he's given time to kind of scale up in his own lane as the Malzahar is roaming around trying to support the bottom side of his team's map. It's also looking out pretty well for him, as now, speaking of that Azir, Masklink roaming up, has the Cloud Drake, has some move speed. The jump in there from I Am Neil. There's a Shurima shuffle for you. Knock Zenfrog backwards. It's a mini Gnar, but here comes Draven. He's unstoppable. Masteries get flashed.
Picks up the bonus 160 gold from his stacks. Azir looking like he actually knows how to play his champion, though this time he's going to get jumped on right away. He's going to drop.
Grass, barrier. Shiki's going to get the kill, but he gets pulled back in by Chillin. Dem Boys, meanwhile, goes wild. Picks up a kill onto Emirati. 1, 2. Chillin gets the kill.
Chillin wants to steal that one away.
Static field.
That's what Blitzcrank's ult is best used for. Why use it to interrupt, you know, Malzahar ults or anything when you can use it to steal a kill?
I mean, you got Blitzcrank hooked to interrupt the Malzahar ultimate. You could just save that ultimate.
I guess. I mean, I would have to re-look at that play, but I'm pretty sure ulting the Malzahar when he's ulting your Azir might have been a better play, but I'd have to re-look to make sure that was an option for him.
Well, Blitzcrank's already 3-1-2, so he's just padding his stats a little bit more.
I mean, if you look at it, who's the real AP carry on this team? The Blitzcrank or the Azir? As they're not done yet, they're going to pick off the...
walks up, gets taken down. Dem Boys is godlike.
He is definitely a 7-0-4, 15 minutes in the game. They're not done yet. They're still aggressing onto the bot lane duo of Kansas State as they're trying to run away now. Looks like they're going to be able to get out.
They just want to kill this Blitzcrank and Draven. Is Draven still catching his axes? The pull comes in from Chilling. He's actually going to want to kill himself right there. Dem Boys walks into the silence coming out from Emirati, but the damage is there. Flashes forward, picks up another kill. Can he wind up kiting out the Zac? The Q will be available soon. The slow is there.
Not enough.
He gets shut down. Finally.
Almost able to lifesteal off the Warlords, but not quite enough. As he is finally able to go back and shop, though.
Yeah, so that means instead he's going to complete a Dustblade of Drakthar, get an additional Serrated Dirk, pick up that Null Magic Mantle. Could be a QSS, could be going for the Edge of Night. Either one means that Draven's going to be dealing more damage.
Nice Q into the wall there by the King. Trying to aggress a little bit onto the Tahm Kench. The ultimate not enough to follow up. Doesn't quite have armor pen yet, but it is enough to chunk him low and probably open up this turret to be dropped for the side of Kansas State.
Well, they're taking it down extremely low. More masteries being flashed. The Zac winds up coming in. The ultimate is there. It's curtain call time. The King takes 1. The King takes 2. Blocked up there by Masklink. Are the final 2 as I Am Neil's in the front lines is the Mega Gnar. The Nethergrass comes out, and Zenfrog actually went down to the Azir in that fight. Now I Am Neil trying to run away, but the Maleficent will take him down. The Shurima Shuffle comes out. Raisin's taken down extremely low, but it's going to be Azir that dies. But in comes a whirling death. Looks like Draven's just wailing away now on Tex the Cat. Doesn't even pop the gray health. He goes down to a double kill. Dem Boys run him through tower. He wants the Emirati kill. He's flashing the mastery. Triple kill for Draven. 11, 1, and 4. Less than 20 minutes into the game. Mark, this one's less than chaos. This one is a stomp.
It's a total stomp as they crack their first inhibitor turret. Going to drop the Nexus as well. Like you said, just 17 minutes into the game. They got 17 kills. They're trying to get above that kill a minute mark once again, and it looks like Western Kentucky's going to help them do so potentially, but they actually get the shutdown onto Dem Boys, and from there, despite I Am Neil TPing in, it's going to be hard for them to convert on any other kills here.
They flash away. Shiki goes over the wall as well, and this is just Western Kentucky unfortunately falling into the same pitfalls. They got behind a little bit, but it seems like the only thing they know how to do on behind is to try to keep fighting, and it just is not working.
Yeah, Shiki on Zach, you constantly see him flying in with that elastic slingshot instead of holding back, looking to pick off odd man advantages. They just see low health targets on the side of Kansas State and think that they can finish them off, but they don't have the items and damage to actually do so.
And this just kind of manifests in not only gold advantages, but CS advantages we've seen. We already talk about how misleading the jungle CS can be, but it's 115 to 39.
Yo, if you're gonna flame Horizon someone in the jungle potentially, as we see a fight break out mid lane.
Yeah, looks like Chillin's going in. He's the recipient of the Nethergrass, but a big Mega Gnar comes out. The Gnar knocks them backwards. Chilling, is he gonna go down to the Mixed Visions? He will. The exhaust is out on Dem Boys, but he doesn't even care. He takes down Tex the Cat. He's taking down Voidlings as they spawn in his wake. He's charging forward, axes ablazing, just continuously going for kills.
Get the Rift Herald. You still have a minute and a half.
Oh, the mascot of the collegiate campus series.
Yeah, you can't win if you don't get the Rift Herald, actually. It doesn't count as a real win.
I don't know if Kansas State's going to buy into that. This open inhibitor is available. They're going to be taking that one. They can back away. There's a dragon spawning in 40 seconds, a Rift Herald available for another minute. The same exact time, though, Western Kentucky manages to get the tier 2 bottom tower.
Yeah, they're trading a little bit. They push in the bot lane all the way. Zenfrog able to pick that one up, but he does get collapsed on by the king. He's trying to trade back on the Graves. Does pop the ultimate. Does not actually yet. He still has it available. As he's
jumping right into Masklink, though, and Masklink takes down Zenfrog.
I mean, it was a good trade overall. Nice to get some gold back onto their side as Dem Boys is now caught out. He was pushing top lane all alone.
I don't think the curtain call can get there, and I don't think that's Dem Boys' base as the Nethergrass goes out. Now he's paying the price for not having that Quicksilver Sash gets eaten up and spitting out by that Tom Kench.
Tom Kench finally able to get another kill into Dem Boys. He runs wild every time he's alive. Doesn't know where that recall button is. Just gotta keep pushing forward. And then he eventually goes down, as we see.
Shiki tries to flash in and get the Dragon Steel, but instead he's gonna end up going down. Tries to charge up the slingshot into the enemy team as opposed to out of the pit. He is gonna get the Let's Bounce, and Righteous Glory picked up by Killing. He's gonna wind up knocking him up, just popping that passive, and this is gonna be another dead Zach.
Another dead Zach, though this time West Kentucky doing a better job sharing their deaths. Before we saw a ton concentrated onto Zenfrog and Tex the Cat. This time a little bit more balanced. Four deaths for everyone, aside for 3 for Shiki, making good use of that revive passive, and 5 for Tex the Cat.
Yeah, I don't know if an even spread of deaths is the best sign of improvement for the side of Western Kentucky.
You gotta look for the positives, Tom.
Oh, Retail's gone.
Unlucky.
They didn't get it in time, but they can get a Baron.
They can get the Baron, though. It's like a hollow victory at this point, you know? What did you really win without getting the Baron or the Rift Herald?
The League of Legends Campus Series Best of 3 game.
Is that what this is?
I think so.
We have officially confirmed this is not a sub war.
I believe so. As Dem Boys is continuing his solo mission at this point, taking on 4 members of the enemy team. The Nethergrass comes out again. He didn't even use his Touch of Night. He goes down. Now, this is getting a little bit dangerous, though, because Kansas State are massively ahead. 10,000 gold ahead, but if you're continuously feeding away kills on the person with a killing spree that does not reset all the way every single time you die, that's massive gold going over to whoever gets that last hit.
I mean, Western Kentucky, it's nice that they are picking up that gold, but the problem is they're still so far behind that the rest of Kansas State can still beat them up. We see here the Azir going in, opening up on the Shiki.
Is engaged. Masling is going to pick up that kill. The curtain call comes out, though. Emirati's in the back line. Looks like at the same time, Graves took down Trundle in the bottom lane, so this would be a 4v3 in general, but it's going to be a 3-man fight. Winning this one, they take down the other 3. Now Raisin is the only one left alive as Ryzen's trying to walk it away.
Don't chase, just go to the super creeps in the mid lane. Just let him go.
That's where they should be going, but they got blood.
Ryzen's showing them where to go. He wants to get out of here. Ooh. He wants this game over.
Masling almost goes down there, but the 4th crit shot did not come out from Jin. That's an ace for Kansas State. 25 kills to 12, 22 minutes into the game. And 6 towers down, 7 towers down.
They're going.
Never mind, 6
Just-
towers down.
They were looking at Baron for a minute there, but their jungler's in the bot lane going for that 7th tower like you're talking about. He might be able to get it though now. Zenfrog is on his way to try and shut this down. Not going to get there in time.
The King has one of the highest CS totals in the game as their jungle Graves.
I mean, everyone else is farming champions. He has the lowest kills on his team behind the Gnar. I mean, and he's got higher kill participation, so you got to say the King might not have his priorities straight, though he did hit the Flame Horizon in the jungle.
He did, and that's clearly what he was going for. As Dem Boys now brings Neil to the fight, but they're going to both get locked up. Neil eats the nether grass here for Dem Boys, but he's going to get knocked up and bounced all over. His Shickies trying to get as much damage as possible. Chillin's coming in from the side, cannot save his AD carry in time, and now it's Kansas State's time to kind of conga line to death here as Tex the Cat eats up the Blitzcrank, spits him out, can't digest the middle. Chillin's going to picking up a kill because of the Ignite onto the Zac. Trundle has now joined the fray. Is Masling in the backline going to take out Jhin? He's going to take out the Tom Kent as well. The soldiers go forward, and he will.
They got the Blitzcrank.
They took the Blitzcrank down, but now they got a new challenger approaching. The Shurima Shuffle comes in. A triple kill for Azir. Can he make it a quadra kill? Masling takes massive damage from Zenfrog and goes down.
Zenfrog able to shut down the Azir, but a new challenger approaches as the King is coming up now to fight the evil Troll King.
Ooh, it's a battle of kings. The lore-specific king versus the jungle king as Zenfrog throws up the pillar.
Doesn't look like the closest fight I've seen.
I don't think so. I was going to say, Zenfrog had a surprising amount of damage before, but I guess it didn't really matter once the ultimate wore off, so.
Right, and they see where he is. They've spotted him out. They're going to try and get there in time. They got the double Ocean Drake. Able to interrupt the recall as now we see the rest of the team chasing down. I would love if they peeled off and did something else, but nope, they're going to commit 4 men to chasing down this Trundle.
Oh, Draven wants to... Oh, it's going to be the collateral damage that winds up picking up the kill. And
the flash burn by the King to secure it.
Kansas State is just having fun this game right now.
They are having fun. They're almost double the kills the other team, 30 to 16. 11K gold up, starting up onto this Baron now, 24 minutes into the game, a minute later than their one from last game.
It's true. They're going to get themselves a Baron buff.
Sneaky W?
I'll have to see. Jin's
No,
curtain call comes out. I mean, there's no Baron to hit. I don't think he's going to pick up any kills in this one either.
Hey, you got the bullets. You may as well shoot him.
1 for 4. 25% accuracy in that ultimate.
I don't want to know what it is for the series, honestly.
I have not been counting. Although Chillin's going to get caught out here. Nethergrass goes down onto the Blitzcrank. Lots of damage coming out, although he's got lots of shields to keep himself alive as well. Knight's Vow.
Here's them boys.
Oh, them boys on the backside. Going to pick up a kill onto Ryzen. Now Shicky's going to be the focus target. His Cell Division passive gets popped. Them boys going forward onto the Tom Kent. Crits him down. That's going to be another kill going over his Blitzcrank. Uses an ultimate once again to clean up the Zac blobs on the floor.
Best usage of that ultimate possible. Dem Boys going back up to the mid lane. The mid inhibitor has respawned. They're going to need to push this one down before ultimately continuing onto the Nexus turrets, as I assume Kansas State would never recall in this situation.
A combined 29 and 20 for the bottom lane of Kansas State right now. So that's more than half of their team's kills that come out of that bottom lane. A large majority of their gold shares on that bottom lane. A large majority of their damage is down there. And now with Western Kentucky just pushed back on their summoner platform due to spawn timers, due to everything else.
Whoa, what's that? Dem Boy's actually recalled.
He's got the Baron buff, so it takes half as long. So
that's the only reason he's doing it.
Yeah.
As we see the rest of his team not on the same page at all. They want to keep fighting. The King is involved as they try to get a flank off.
Behind them.
Yeah, he tried to get the flank off with the Tom Kench ult, but ultimately there is still that turret available for Azir as Emirati's off on the side trying to finish off Neil. He looks like he's going to be able to get away.
Emirati won't be able to, though.
Yeah, Emirati is caught out, unable to do so as Neil lives with just a sliver of health.
Meanwhile, Masling is in the base taking down the Trundle. Draven soloing a dragon. This is a different brand of chaos, Mark.
I don't like it. I'm scared, Tom.
I have no idea when this game is going to end, how it's going to end, but it looks like with a 20,500 gold advantage, it will eventually end in Kansas State's favor as the less than 200 HP Azir is content to push his minions forward and try to take down these Nexus towers.
Does this guy really deserve to be on Kansas State? Let me ask you that. He doesn't seem down with the don't back off philosophy as he wimps out of trying to finish off that turret.
I mean, we thought the same thing about them boys, but he recalled.
That's true. Maybe this is a new Kansas State here in game 2.
We're seeing the evolution in front of our eyes.
Right, you see them learning like, hey, I have 200 health, I could die. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Well, for the side of Western Kentucky, though, it seems like they didn't necessarily take the lessons as quick as to learn them in game number 1, as they continue just to kind of throw themselves at their opponents. At this point in time, there's very little you can do to come back unless you have Frogman's and Nivea stalling out for, another 40 minutes or so.
I don't even know if that would be enough. As we see Kansas State looking like they're actually grouped up, going for this last inhibitor available in the bot lane. The King still not wanting to play with his teammates, probably has some kind of issue with them, given what he's done this series, not grouped up all the time.
He is the king. He commands his armies. He does not fight with them.
Oh, he's joined up now.
He's joined up now. Now that he knows that the tower is gone and the inhibitor's exposed, he's coming for the glory as he slays the inhibitor. That's like those tales like the king leads the army and comes in and slays the opposing general like after they've captured him and like completely like locked him down and just short everything up. As last fight of the game potentially comes out here as Raisin picks up the kill onto the Gnar, but Draven's already taken out the front line. The shuffle comes in. The rest of the team goes out. A double kill picked up for Draven. A quadra kill picked up for Draven. He would have gotten the penta, but there's not enough opponents left. It's going to be 43 kills to 17 in a 28-minute match. Kansas State take this game with style.
Woo, that was a game. And ultimately, a lot of it started through the bot lane. The Draven got rolling really early on. They were able to get some kills underneath the turret where the enemy team of Kentucky just did not seem comfortable playing against that pick. And everyone knows when a Draven starts getting fed, bad stuff happens to you.
Yeah, no, a lot of bad things happened that game, including, we have a couple of replays just to kind of show you the decimation from the side of both Western Kentucky and Kansas State, because that was just another matchup where both of these teams are kind of just going back and forth, and it really started a little bit later than normal. About 16 minutes into the game, K-State pushes mid, and there's a 4-for-2 trade in the inner turret already.
Right, and you see just how aggressive both these teams are willing to be. Kentucky kind of opens up a little late as the turret drops, and then that's a great ultimate by Neil to secure them against the wall, but they don't have quite enough damage to really combo off it, as it's just the Azir really putting in damage, and then they get kited back into the turret. And a nice Shurima shuffle by Mastlink as he continues to carry throughout this fight, gets a number of people low before Demboy shows up and is able to start sniping out the kills.
Yeah, and this is just kind of a trend for most of these games. It was Kansas State kind of just running rampant in the fights no matter what Western Kentucky could do. We see them boys going a little bit too far deep to get these kills, but when you're Draven and you're that fed, you really just want all the guts and all the glory.
I mean, you can't back down at that point. You can't play smart once you're that fed as the Draven. You need to keep going and keep attacking and eventually kill the entire enemy team or die yourself.
That's very true. And another big fight here where Western Kentucky tried to do something but unfortunately did not pan out for them is about 22.5 minutes into the game, which is almost towards the end of the game, where they are able to actually catch out Kansas State, but by that point in time, they were already tens of thousands of gold.
Yeah, 22.5 minutes in is late game for this kind of series, as we see Demboys and Neil pushing top lane alone. But if you look at your minimap, you see the rest of Kansas State is coming in to try and help them. Neil is going to get picked off really early, but Demboy is going to start kiting out. Zach not quite having enough damage to finish him off, as Chillin eventually shows up, lands the hook, they finish off Demboys, but here comes Mastlink, the fed Azir. He's going to be able to drop a lot of damage down as Chillin starts running the team away, and they get into this kind of split-up situation where it's just Ryzen 1v1ing the fed Azir. That's not what you want. Malzahar's focused on the top side instead. Now Tex the Cat walks back forward. He gets focused down. He's going to get dropped as well, as Mastlink now finishes off the next two members who have been cut off by who have been busy chasing Chillin, and ultimately Zenfrog does pick up this kill. We get to see the Troll King able to get a kill back, but that eventually leads to another chase situation where he gets chased down by the King and ulted by the Graves. Craziness all series long.
And that was one hell of a series to kind of close out our group stage on, because remember guys, we're on break next week, but when we come back, we'll get to be in the playoffs for the campus series.
I mean, yeah, this is the craziest game you could hope for to end it. But be sure to tune in Monday for more BTN. We won't be here for the campus series, but we'll still be around for that one, and it's going to be a great one with Ohio State versus Michigan.
Yeah, one of the oldest rivals in collegiate history, going to be taken to Summoner's Rift. And this is going to be really interesting too, because Michigan looking really, really strong, and Ohio State not necessarily as much of a powerhouse in that division, but definitely want to try to take it to Michigan, especially if you could take down the top team. Like, looking pretty good going to playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you definitely want to do, start getting convincing wins against strong opponents, and Michigan State is a great team to do that against for Ohio.
All right, and that's going to be it for our show today, so thanks again for watching, and we hope to see you again, not next week, but the week after for some playoffs.
Damage. Oh, we We see both teams popping up right at the beginning of this game.
Immediately, the dredge line goes in, but it's Nautilus who goes down. He did blow his flash, but he didn't even move because he got taken out so fast. Corky's here. Ziggs is here. Are they going to want to start the fight is the main question. Sion is not. There's no teleport available. That's going to hop in, but he goes over the ball breaker. The assault and battery goes down, but Masklink takes him out as now Dem Boys has arrived to the fight. Zenfrog's gonna get taken extremely low. The slow is there from the stretchy arm. Masklink picks up his third of the game. And we're back to the bottom lane, Mark. Dem Boys goes down as Raisin picks up that kill. Now Tex the Cat and Ryzen are getting bounced all over. The Stranglethorns comes out the flash away from Morgana. The Soul Shackles is on Zyra. Zac is on top of Jin. The heal comes out. The Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, and the Cavalry comes in for Western Kentucky. They're galloping to the aid of their compadres in the bottom lane. And just be one Corky snipe or Varus arrow away from going down.
He's going for it.
Masklink wants it. He wants the last shot. Ooh, Sion flash over the wall.
The entire team wants it.
The piercing arrow gets it.
I'm trying to rationalize their decision making. It's just not happening as Ryzen gets a little
Oh my God!
Absolutely popped by Masklink. He's not done looking for the Zyra. He's still hunting.
Infinity Edge Trinity Force Corky. The exhaust comes out, but Zyra's still gonna go down for a double kill. Masklink is now chilling in a flash after Tex the Cat. The Ignite is down. One axe could be it. The stand aside. One last auto attack, and Dem Boys on a killing spree.
We have a snowballing Graven alert. We need an alarm for this. As Emirati comes over the wall, getting right onto Blitzcrank. That's not the target he wants.
Yeah,
he's gonna go down.
3 people around him, and he's just standing still at that nether grass, and it's another kill to Draven. The snowball continues at move speed. We jump in there from I Am Neil. There's a Shurima shuffle for you. Knocks Zenfrog backwards. It's a mini Gnar, but here comes Draven. He's unstoppable. Just to short everything up as last fight of the game potentially comes out here. As Raisin picks up the kill onto the Gnar, but Draven's already taken out the front line. The shuffle comes in. The rest of the team goes out. A double kill picked up for Draven. A quadra kill picked up for Draven. He would have gotten the penta, but there's not enough opponents left